Live from the Man Cave, treadmills and tangents with Coach Aaron Saron and his army of wellness warriors. Live in discussion of all things health and wellness, along with community topics they happen to stumble upon.
All right, good morning, Omaha. Coach coming at you today with another edition of Treadmills and Tangents, your health and wellness show right here on The Answer. I'm here with Timmy and Sam again. Fellas, what's up?
What's up? What's up? Another beautiful day.
Yeah. In the neighborhood.
It is not.
Except for my lawn, apparently.
Except for someone in this room.
So my cohorts, unbeknownst to them, I was within earshot of walking up to the man cave today. We're making fun of my lawn. I think one of them said you could get lost in it. Who was that?
We were talking about how on Honey I Shrunk the Kids.
Honey I Shrunk the Kids. It's like the Honey I Shrunk the Kids.
Right. I mean,
Listen, learn here, folks. Be careful how your voice travels and who
Also-
might be listening.
if both of your neighbors have mowed, maybe you should.
That is true. In
It
fact,
just makes your lawn look really tall.
I did yell at my neighbor. I said, dude, you're making me look bad. He's like, what? And he totally didn't get it. And I pointed to my lawn. But in my defense, I did want to mow my lawn this week, but we had the sprinkler person come out because our sprinklers weren't working.
Oh, gotcha.
And so he kept turning them on and turning them off. So for like 3 days, my grass was wet.
And then it rained.
Of course. So now and of course, like 2 weeks ago, I put down a buttload of fertilizer and weed killer. So now it rained and there's a bunch of fertilizer. So now it's like 8 feet high. It's nice and green though.
It is. It's very green.
It is a very plush lawn.
It is plush. It's a deep
If
green
I wasn't
too.
allergic to grass, I would go make a grass.
Oh, so you don't like cutting your grass?
I have to shower right afterwards, otherwise I get rashes and stuff. Yeah.
Do you really?
Yeah.
I love the smell of fresh cut grass.
Fresh cut grass is the
And
best. It's the sure sign of
Grass
spring.
pollen has been bad in Nebraska this year. I've been dying, man. I've had to go get it.
Grass has pollen?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. Does it?
Yeah, it was on the news the other day talking about the grass
Fake
pollen
news.
was high.
Fake news.
That might be fake news. Look that up. Look
Yeah,
that
look
up.
I don't know if I believe
Grass
it.
I know grass has seed when it gets tall enough
Here's the
because
thing.
unfortunately
I'm
I've been
just
that neighbor
telling
that
you
let my
what-
grass get tall enough where it does start having seeds.
Oh, you were that guy.
Yeah, but well, I guess there has to be pollen then at some point, but I've never heard of grass pollen. You're probably
Grass
right.
pollen allergy is more formally called seasonal allergic rhinitis. Oh my! I'm not going to try to. There is grass pollen.
There is, in other words, there is grass pollen.
Yes.
Well, nonetheless, don't make fun of my grass anymore. Or I'm not going to invite you over.
Well, nonetheless, don't try to tell me I don't have an allergy. That's a real thing. Anyway,
We digress
Yeah,
already.
we started on a tangent 30 seconds into the show.
30
folks.
seconds into the show. That's so I was at my daughter's softball game, and apparently, unbeknownst to me, cheering is quite the thing in softball.
Is it a good or a bad thing?
Well, when
yeah.
you have a bunch of 10-year-olds cheering, it tends to be more screaming and incoherent
So you're talking
yelling.
about the other players cheering.
Well,
not
no,
the
they
parents.
cheer when they're on the bench. Like that's a thing.
yeah.
That's a thing in softball.
Yeah.
I was not aware. So
Oh, they don't mess around. They
it made
go
it
blind
it
and
made it
everything,
kind
really.
of hard to watch the game personally because I grew up doing sports and you don't cheer when when you're on the bench in football or basketball.
Right.
You don't cheer.
Yeah.
But apparently softball it is. So what was funny was the coach had sent out a mass email to all the parents saying, game's coming up, yada yada yada, uniforms, pictures. I just wrote back and said, hey, I appreciate what you do. I know coaching kids is tough. Could we ask the girls to tone it down a little bit on the bench? It makes it really tough to sit and watch the game.
Uh-oh.
And I proceeded to get lectured about how cheering is part of the fabric of softball. And,
Whoa.
and she will not discourage the girls for cheering. In fact, they want them to cheer loud and proud.
Yeah.
So now my coaching mind kicked in. And I held restraint. What I really wanted to say was, well, that's because softball's so boring that you have to cheer to keep yourself occupied. But and then my other side, being a coach to professional athletes, I'm like, well, I don't see the NFL cheering on the bench, and if cheering did work that well, you'd see every team on the planet.
Major League Baseball, any of those
especially
guys.
pro
Olympic
teams.
softball, I don't think had cheering on the bench. So
Now volleyball will. I've
Right.
seen some volleyball
Sure.
teams do a little bit, but this softball's a whole different level.
Well, we've talked about the Quakes before. My Q hat. We had that one episode where we talked about it. So I was at a game. I'm wearing it again.
Yeah, I was gonna say you know you
I
were.
was at a game a couple weeks ago for the Quakes, and they were doing the same thing. So they'll do like 1-9, 1-9, 1-9. They're up to bat one on the bases.
Our team is hotter than hot.
They just never stop.
Man, that would just.
And they all have little like nicknames and rhymes and things for when they're.
I
on
guess
the bat.
I
And
couldn't
don't
watch
know.
the game.
I would get distracted if I was trying to bat and someone.
I
kept
get
saying,
it.
like,
If it's tradition,
Sure.
go for it. But don't try to tell me that It keeps the players focused. It keeps them engaged. It's like
There's
if that was the truth and it actually helped performance, every pro team on the planet's bench would be cheering their minds out.
The team that my friend's daughter plays on is a 14U or 16U now prime team, and the coach will tell them when they're on the bench, he's like, "Hey, you guys are too quiet." Like it's.
I have no
it's a
problem with
culture
cheering. Like I have no
of,
problem with some chants and some cheering, but when it's just screaming, by no means am I trying to be sexist, but as 10-year-old girls tend to do, just scream mindlessly. They're getting better at it. The cheers are getting a little more.
See, yeah, like these ones have, like the parents say them too, and of course, I've only been to a few games, so I'm like the guy that stands there and doesn't know the words to the song, and I'm like the kid at the Super Bowl who was singing with Justin Timberlake, trying to figure out who he was.
I guess I'm just old school sports guy. I'm like, you know what? How about we not cheer and focus on hitting the ball? But
right. When you hit the ball, then you can cheer.
Then you know what I mean? Yeah. Like when none of us are striking out or missing balls on the ground, then we can cheer.
That's true. You know what? When you subbed with a softball team that I play on a few weeks ago, and I didn't hear you cheer for me every time I had a good pitch. As a matter of fact, most of the time I was like, "Are you going to throw one over the plate?"
I think at one point I said, "Are we bowling here or what's going on?"
It also, the game he subbed, to be fair, was like the windiest game I've ever pitched in, and the wind would come in and then die.
Blame on the wind.
So I would start to pitch.
That is kind of a cop-out.
And the ball would end up like 6 feet left of the plate.
Here's what you got to be careful when you sub in men's softball. I showed up and they're like, "Hey, where do you want to play?" I go, "Wherever, man, wherever you guys need me." And they go, "Okay, you'll play third," which is third base in men's slow pitch softball. You're a target.
Yes.
You got several rockets.
That thing, that first shot came at me at what seemed like 1,000 miles an hour, right at my head.
He did jump.
Luckily, I have cat-like reflexes, and it wasn't a problem.
It was
at all.
Let's put him in the danger.
But I will say this: as the game went on, I was further and further towards the edge of the infield as I could get because, man, and I don't know how you pitch without a mask on. Most people pitch with the cage on.
I feel like my reflexes are good enough that
modeling career's over, so it doesn't matter.
Whatever. I mean, if I lose a tooth, make a cool story.
Right on.
I mean, to be fair, I get punched and punch people in the face as a hobby. So
yeah,
I'm
so
not
it's
sure
a softball.
The softball off the head is really going to do.
I don't know, man. Those things rocket off the map.
They do, yeah.
All right, guys. Timmy? What's in the news today?
Well, we got a couple of different things.
Oh yes, we did post an article on our Facebook. And by the way, guys, if you aren't following our Facebook, we're constantly posting good articles, interviews, keynote speeches from leading researchers in the field on diet, nutrition, and fitness. And there's a company in California called Virtua Health. And what this Virtua Health is essentially the owner of Trulia, which is a real estate site. His name is Sammy Inkinen. I don't know, I screwed that up. So Sam, it was sick with Sammy. So the guy that started Trulia started up this company called Virtua. Essentially what happened was he was a marathon runner and he got ill. He got diagnosed as diabetic. And through diet, he feels like he cured himself and he wants to take this to everybody else. So he created a company in which he brought in some top physicians, and it's online. It's essentially online counseling and online, accountability. And they'll help you with diet, they'll help you with fitness, they'll help you with nutrition. And their main push is the ketogenic diet. And he is convinced that the ketogenic diet's what cured his type 2 diabetes. And so he created a company to help others cure their diabetes as well through the ketogenic diet. So, it's starting to take hold, folks. The medical community may not have embraced it yet, but there are companies out there and there are some physicians out there that are starting to realize, hey, the data is what it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was going to say, there's some people rolling around right
now. This is a little pricey. They're charging them, what, $350 a month, $350 a month?
Yeah, sure.
And truth told, I don't, by no means do I want to poo-poo their efforts. I think it's incredible what they're doing, and I hope that the other physicians out there take note, and especially the insurance companies take note that, hey, most of this stuff is diet induced and we can cure ourselves. I hope they don't get in trouble for trying to say they're curing disease. I know the FDA gets crazy about things like that, but check it out, guys. And truth be told, it's really just an accountability project. Everybody can do the keto diet. You just have to be a little bit disciplined and just understand what you're trying to do. Just good lean proteins, good healthy fats, and you're on your way. And if you can keep your diet to just that, the data's out there. It is reversing type 2 diabetes left and right.
And there are enough very intelligent people who are way smarter than us and know way more than us.
That is a true statement.
That are out there
especially
talking about this and doing and now they're putting it into athletes and stuff and saying, hey, you don't have to carb load to get this, the best performance or the best version of yourself. You don't have to do these things. So I'm excited to see where this goes, man. I feel like we kind of jumped into this early. I've been on it for over a year now. You kind of threw it out at the gym over a year ago and said, hey, we should try this, as it was really starting to get some steam going. And it's just incredible.
Well, the data is now just catching up. It's really just catching up to things that we've known. Now there are no long-term studies just yet, and long-term is relative, but there's a lot of data out there, and there's a lot of data on insulin. There's a lot of data on the foods that affect insulin and hyperinsulinemia and what it does to the body. And the majority of our chronic diseases are a result of insulin sensitivity issues. But anyway, yeah, check it out, virtua.com. I think it's virtuahealth.com.
Yeah, really good.
And the title of the article, we posted it on our Facebook, so check it out. It's a pretty good read. And we also posted a keynote speech by Dr. Bickman, which really lays this out in such easy to understand terms, and the graphics he used.
That was awesome.
And the delineation between white fat and brown fat. And you know, he talks about the calories in, calories out argument. And although he essentially says that it's more a matter of insulin, but he does say, look, here's where calories in, calories out is, here's how they overlap, and here's where the homeopathic approaches take. So he doesn't come out and say, look, and dog on anybody.
Right.
He's just, it is what it is. He's just speaking from his experience and more importantly, his research and data. So check that out too. Both of those are on our Facebook. Check those out. And they're easy to follow, easy to read, and just helps you understand diet and nutrition a little bit better.
He put a lot into layman's terms. I was listening to it. I watched it and then I listened to it again as I was driving, just because I was trying to let it all soak in. I'm like, man, he puts it in a way that you don't, he's not throwing rocket science at you. He's talking to you like you're anybody, and it makes sense. Like it's hard to argue with, because he's giving you facts and stuff he's actually tested himself.
What I like about him is that he doesn't come across in a confrontational approach, and he's not trying to debate anybody. He's just saying, look, here's what the data says, here's how we understand it, and here's how it's laid out. Whereas I think a lot of people are so defensive because they got books to defend and they've got their own websites to defend,
or the sugar industry's like
they're
third pockets or something.
Yeah, so I think they're more in a defensive mode rather than just here's the information and here's how it's understood, which was what I appreciate from him as well. Good deal. What's tweeting today?
Well, we went
You said something about walking, right?
We did. So I found that the first one, the top one was just a little blurb that said, walking is the ultimate stress buster.
Well, here's the idea, guys.
As a chore.
Yeah, just moving, right? Just getting off your butt and moving. But walking, walking can be as beneficial as running.
Sure.
And if you got bad knees, bad back, bad joint, whatever it is, just nothing's wrong with walking. When I had my hernia surgery, they said the first thing you need to do is get up and walk.
Yeah.
Just get your body moving and walk.
Yeah.
I mean, all it takes is, 30 minutes?
Well,
Yeah,
and truth told, if you walk first thing in the morning, which is essentially off of a fast, right? Which is what, is why we call it breakfast. And if you walk first thing in the morning off of a fast, especially if you walk, maybe make it a 12 or 18 hour fast, you stand a good chance of burning more body fat than anything else.
Right.
At the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. So, and walking, there's very little impact on your body, very little impact on your joints. You can walk on all surfaces. You don't want to run on all surfaces because that'll beat you up.
Sure.
But you can walk anywhere. I know people who, heart patients, as part of their rehab, would just go to the mall and walk. Just walk laps at the mall.
I went to the zoo a couple weeks ago for Grant's first birthday, and the people that zoo walk is crazy.
Dude, that zoo is hilly.
Right. I mean, and there are actually people jogging too, but
Very hilly.
we passed a couple of older folks several times because they were going the other direction as us, and they were just walking.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie to you. When I've been there all day, and you walk the whole zoo, and you walk down past the bear area and then the petting area, and there's a big hill waiting for you, I'm just like, oh my gosh, this hill is still here. And part of me just wants to cut it short because there's that exit right there. You can duck out halfway up. I ain't gonna lie to you. Sometimes I do.
I think most people feel that way when they get to that part.
That hill is just so daunting after you've been there all day, especially if you walked all the way to the far corner.
Yeah,
that far corner that nobody tends to go to. You know what I'm talking about, where the rhinos are? Nobody wants to go up there. It's an awesome zoo. Every time somebody says, what do you do in Omaha? I'm like, go to the zoo.
Right.
Oh, yeah, zoo.
You have to.
I mean, it's ranked what? One of the number one in the world?
It's number 2 in the world right now. St. Louis passed us last year, so we're number 2 right now. I know. I was like, what is St. Louis? One more thing I wanted to throw about walking. So my mom went through chemo a year ago. She was diagnosed with leukemia, and every day they wanted her to walk 2 to 3 times a day for, I think she was doing 4 laps. So it ended up being between 10 and 15 minutes, just because it was, around the whole floor. But it was several times a day, and they were good about it. They would encourage her when she did it, but that was even just part of her regimen to keep her body moving, so she didn't get so much into that state of going through chemo and just sitting there doing nothing.
So have you guys heard of Plogging.
I have not heard of plogging.
Plogging.
This should get interesting.
So plogging is the new fitness craze that's eco and environmentally friendly.
Huh.
Do
Okay.
you have any idea how they get the name plogging?
No.
No.
It's Swedish?
Google will tell me.
So, you can't look it up while I'm trying to tell you, man. That's cheating. So anyway, plogging is this new idea of just essentially picking up trash as you jog and walk.
Oh, okay.
Right? So jogging, obviously, and then the Swedish word plocka up, which means pick up.
Gotcha.
So that's where plogging comes from. So it makes sense because I've gone out and, I've been at parks and you just see trash laying around. You pick it up and throw it away. But, it's this trend where people are just out and it's gaining a lot of steam on Twitter and Instagram where people are showing how much they picked up while they were out jogging or walking.
That's awesome.
I think it is awesome, right? And I'll tell you what, if it gets you more active, right? If you're just an environmentalist and, like I jokingly call it tree huggers, like just go out and pick up trash. Well, just turn it into a workout. Yeah.
Right.
So, I'm going to put in 5 miles of plogging today. I'm just going to pick up trash as I go see how much I can get. So I think that's cool.
Some of the pictures, the amount of stuff people picked up, holy moly,
and I think it's awesome. I think that's something we should do in Omaha. Plogging, just get out there and as you're jogging, just pick something up. Or people when they walk their dogs, they'll carry a dog poop bag.
Right.
So just carry a plastic bag and pick up trash as you go and see how much you can clean up.
If any of you guys that listen, go out and plug. Throw a post up on the page with what you pick up, and we'll have to do it, and we'll see.
Shoot your name on there. We'll give you a shout out on the show for sure. Because I think this is a great thing. And anytime you see trash, I encourage people to pick it up in general. I've always said that, we have a prison population, right? And at the same time, I said we should never have a dirty park or a dirty side of the road. There should be no trash anywhere. And now a lot of people are going to jump my butt for saying, well, that's, slave labor, whatever you want to call it. But hey, you know what? I'm a firm believer that if you've taken from society, you should give something back.
Sure.
So, work off your penance a little bit and we should pick up some trash. But, as you're jogging, go for it. Pick it up, walking around. I encourage everybody to do it in your daily. I see people step over trash all the time. I'm like, dude, just pick it up.
Well, there was that story a few weeks ago in Omaha, even that business owner, somebody threw trash out in front of his business and he just asked the guy to pick it up and the 2 guys beat the crap out of him. Just for him asking them to pick up their own trash that he watched them throw on the ground.
The amount of stuff I see people throw in the parking lot of our store is ridiculous.
How easy? And there's everywhere you go into one of the stores too. Every store has a trash can outside. Yeah.
Well,
you can't walk the 10 feet to throw it away. Like what?
And when you think health and fitness, a healthy environment is healthier people.
Absolutely, you're breathing all that stuff in.
That's good.
It's just.
All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. We got some fitness Jeopardy coming up. We're going to see if the fellas have been studying since last time. Their track record is not the best. You're listening to Treadmills and Tangents, your health and wellness show right here in The Answer, 94.5 FM, 1420 AM. We'll be right back. When you walk into Mid-American Martial Arts, you're walking into more than punching and kicking. You're walking into a community, and that is what I think sets us apart from everybody else. We train anywhere from 4 years old, and we have students as old as in their 60s here. Our main programs are Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai kickboxing, Judo, as well as our Strength and Conditioning program, which is our Training for Warriors program. Our main goal is that when people leave here, they feel better about themselves. They're a little bit better as a person, they feel a little bit about their life, they feel better about their day. Now, everybody holds baggage, everybody has stress. This is the place where they can come in and put all that away for a little bit and work on themselves. Yeah, do we hope they can defend themselves better? Sure. Do we hope they can punch and kick a little better? Absolutely. None of that matters if they don't feel good about themselves. And that's the main key. If they can walk out of here feeling good about themselves, feeling good about their life, then we've won that day. And welcome back, everybody. You're listening to Treadmills and Tangents, your health and wellness show right here on The Answer. Gentlemen, it's time for some fitness Jeopardy.
Will you make sure Sam actually buzzes in this week? Because I feel like normally
I buzzed in last time.
Normally what happens is I just keep throwing out random answers until I get close or we move on.
When you got a big mouth, it kind of just happens.
True. He has a point. Okay, our categories.
Wise guy.
Our categories today are muscles and bones, sport principles, fit principles, F-I-T-T, fitness components, and anything. The catch-all anything, which kind of frightens me a bit.
I'll let you go first there, funny pants.
So we have anything, muscles, and bones.
Let's start with anything.
Anything for 100.
Yeah.
To increase workload demand for improvements in performance. To increase work... Remember, answers must be in the form of a question.
What is stress?
Close. What is overload? Overload, to increase workload demand for improved performance.
Anything for 200.
Anything for 200. How can... You guys are going to get crushed.
Yeah.
It's not good when you're laughing
Yeah,
at
I
the question.
know.
You're like the worst Alex Trebek there is.
How can TDM affect a player's performance? Like, as in something is tedious. Because I can see the look on your
What
face
is
like,
exhaustion?
we have no idea what tedium is.
I'm just-
So tedium. So, what is the player is bored? If a player is bored, they may not be motivated, and therefore levels of effort may be reduced, affecting
You should
overall
send that
fitness.
to your daughter's softball coach.
Why are we cheering? Because of tedium.
Right.
How about, let's do sport principles for 100. I'm going to choose for you guys. List the 5 sport principles. And sport being an acronym, SPORT.
What is play?
How about
Train.
specificity, progression, overload, reversibility, and tedium? Sport
We really need to
principles.
start reviewing
Specificity, progression,
I feel like he just makes these questions
overload,
up.
reversibility, and tedium. How would I make that up?
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's true. True too. All right, sport principles for 200.
You just
In
read
order
the
to,
hard ones?
all right, here we go. In order to increase fitness, the human body must be subjected to greater stresses than the ones in which it is accustomed to. What is this principle?
Can you read that again?
In order to increase fitness, the human body must be subjected to stresses greater than what it is accustomed to.
What is training?
Training was not part of the sport principles that we just talked about.
What is
What is
R?
specificity? No, that's not.
What is
I don't know.
R? The R.
The reversibility. How about overload? The one we just talked about. What is overload? Ladies and gentlemen, I unfortunately associate myself with these two fine gentlemen. Okay,
Ladies and gentlemen,
let's go to
We're getting doctorate level education right now. That's
fit
what's
principles. The fit principle
This
is
is another
applied
acronym, so it's not gonna help.
to which, oh, listen to this one. The fit principle is applied to which sport principle? Well, okay, how about this? What are the 4 elements of the fit principle? FITT.
happening. Fitness.
Frequency, intensity, time, and type.
That's what we were going to say.
Frequency, intensity, time, and type for the fit principles.
All right, what's 200? It's going to be one of those 4.
Let's go fit. No, that was 200.
Oh, great.
What does the F stand for?
Frequency.
Frequency,
What is frequency?
yes.
I
Ding,
almost
ding,
said,
ding,
what is
ding,
fitness?
ding.
I know. I saw you like, what is?
Oh, it pains me. It pains me. Let's try muscle and bones for 100.
Again, we punch each other in the head for fun, so give us a little
What is
side.
the correct anatomical name for the muscle of your bottom?
What is the gluteus
Gluteus
maximus?
Indeed.
I was like, please, God, tell us we got that one.
Indeed.
I enjoy a nice gluteus maximus myself.
Indeed. Okay, for 200, what is the anatomical name for the kneecap?
What is the L kneecapo?
You also hear it's called the something tendon.
Patella?
The patella, yes, sir. The
What is the
patella.
pat-
What is the patella? Well played, sir. All right, muscles and bones for 300. What are the 2 functions of the skeleton?
What is to be bones? What is to be left after
They
you
are
die?
bones.
Structure. What is structure?
Provide a framework, yes.
Oh.
And think of what are your ribs doing in your breastplate?
That's what. No,
Do ribs
no,
breathe?
No. Damn it.
What is...
Flag. That's
Yeah.
10 push-ups.
Flag.
That's 10 push-ups.
Even I'll admit that one.
what is protecting?
Yes. Provide structure and
Oh.
protecting.
Sweet
Oh,
mama.
sweet Jesus.
Thank God I don't answer the only... I'm not
Okay,
the only
fitness
dumb one.
components for 100.
All right.
What is health-related fitness?
What is exercise?
Your ability to become and stay physically fit. Yes. Wow. Okay, fitness components for 200. Name the 5 sports skill-related components of fitness.
The 5. Say that again.
The 5 sport skill-related components of fitness. Speed, agility, muscular power, coordination, balance.
What is what Aaron said?
Yes, indeed. The 5 components of fitness:
I
speed,
figured this game
agility,
out.
muscular power, coordination, and balance. All right, one more. We're going to go right to 500. Let's go to muscles and bones for 500. We'll do all the 500s real quick. During our fitness testing, we tested core strength by seeing how many sit-ups we can do in 30 seconds. What is the major muscle group you're using in this test?
What are abdominals?
Indeed, good sir. What are your
that
abdominals?
500?
Yeah.
Anything for 500. Wow, this is a paragraph. Here we go. This is a scenario, or a scenario, depending how. Kate is 16 and plays hockey to good standard. Read the following extract to which she describes her training. At present, I am training 3 times a week, every week, but at first I only went once a week. I use a couple of different methods of training, but I make sure I focus on tasks appropriate for my activity, which is hockey. At the end of each session, I plan the next one, gradually increasing the amount of work I do when I think it's becoming too easy. State the 4 principles of training she applies. And B, for each of the principles you have identified, give an example from the extract to support your answer.
Well, obviously, there's functional training.
What is intensity? Is one.
What is progression? Right, because she's increasing the weight each
right.
time. What is tedium? So she
'Cause
prevents
she's bored,
boredom
so
because she does a different,
What is
multiple methods.
frequency?
Specificity because she focuses on tasks that are appropriate for hockey. And overload because she increases the workload each time she feels it gets easy.
I know we had to write an essay today.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to not show up prepared for work.
What does I need more bulletproof coffee?
All right, sport principles for 500. Jenna has been swimming 10 laps of the pool every day before work for 1 month. Using the sport principles, list the training principles not being used and how this affects her fitness.
She's tedium because that's the same thing all the time. So it's
That's
being
right.
boring.
Very well played, good sir. Tedium.
Well, that is well played.
She's not overloading. 'Cause she's
True
not-
statement
she's not-
again. She's not increasing frequency, intensity, or time.
She's not progressing.
Yes, that's the one.
3 for 3.
Because-
Tim got the answer correct.
And mic drop. You gotta answer the next one.
I'm
Go.
out. I am out. All is forgiven for the grass comment earlier.
Whew, that was close.
That you pulled it off. That was nice. He can learn. We'll do one more here. Let's do fitness components for 500. What is the most important component of fitness for a gymnast performing on the beam? Cardiovascular endurance, muscular power, balance, or speed?
What
What is balance?
Very nice. That was kind of a gimme.
Right.
I threw you up a...
The 500s, I feel
Threw
like
up a tomato.
The 100s, like, what's the acronym for
Those
supercalifragilisticexpialidocious?
were tough. Those were tough. Yeah, those were tough. But you know, I tell you what, when I took my CSCS test, and that they can get, you know, most of the principles of fitness and nutrition are pretty basic and common. But when you start getting into the testing regimens and the specificity, that gets really in depth and detailed, and that was difficult. But it's very important because not everybody's fitness program should be the same.
Sure.
Not everybody's goals should be the same. And if you are a good trainer and you are a good, even PTs, right, you should have a strict battery of tests to make sure where's that person currently, where they need to go, where are their deficiencies, where are their proficiencies, and then be able to set up a program for them that will progress them as they need to and
By
get to their
sport,
goals.
Obviously, it's different too.
Right,
Per sport.
yeah.
There's
Per
different
sport as well,
the
absolutely.
functionality is
Well,
way
within the
different.
sport,
Sure,
I was
even
just
different
listening to the
positions.
radio. The Huskers' new strength coach, Zach Duvall, who I know personally and have trained with, made comments that, you know, you can't train wide receivers the same as you do linemen. It's
Sure.
the same as you do linebackers and running backs. Everybody has different needs, right? They all can just, all right, get in there and get on the bench and squat. Like, it just doesn't work like that anymore.
Right.
Back in the day, that's the approach, but not anymore.
Sure.
So, you know, everybody has...
So we're talking about drinking?
Yes, indeed. Drink, yes.
All right.
Well, we're not going to drink beer since that would not be appropriate on
It's
our
also
current
early
show.
on a Saturday, so
It is early on a Saturday.
our wives might be like, well,
But we do have some Tionic today that we're going to try.
Ooh.
So we picked up some Tionic at the Hy-Vee organic section. And Tionic, that's the name of it, Teaonic, Tionic. And these are all natural, no sugar, no calories, caffeine-free, no preservatives, organic, vegan, gluten-free, non-GMO, and delicious.
we'll see.
Delicious.
We'll
Health, love, life, and nature. Specific.
Specific.
Specifically formulated to help balance, tone, and invigorate the body at the cellular level, indeed. So I love my gut, which is for digestion.
We have I love my liver,
which is for
filtration.
And it says for detox.
For detox. All right, so mine's got a bunch of organic roots, dandelion roots, rubus root, rose hips fruit, dandelion leaf, hibiscus, milk thistle, and a proprietary blend. Of course it does. What does yours have?
We got dandelion root, ginger root, peppermint leaf, dandelion leaf, hibiscus flower, milk thistle.
I'm not going to lie to you. This looks like when you watch those old school movies and those guys are selling tonics.
I was going to say that. Yeah, it looks
Man, and hence the name Tionic, but that's what this stuff looks like. It's like a weird yellowish brown color. But I'm going to try it. I love my gut. No, thank you. Oh, I took it. Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. No, I'm good. I mean, that's
not bad.
It tastes like
you're out of your mind.
Yeah, that's not. I like tea though.
This I love iced tea, straight iced tea, unsweetened. I'll drink that all day. This stuff. Oh my gosh, no. Oh my gosh, you can't drink that with a straight face and tell me it's good.
Actually, I like that one better. Yeah, it's got like a little cinnamon or something.
I really want to throw this at him because I feel like he's doing that on purpose right now.
Is there like a little cinnamon in that one?
It does have a little bit of like a.
There's a little bite to it.
Is. Yeah, cinnamon.
There's a bite to it.
Bark. That's good.
I'm not saying this is not healthy and not good for you, but my palate is not tolerable to it. Tim likes it. How would you describe it, Tim?
A jacked up tea.
You know what it tastes like? Tea that, like, with a lot of spice in it. Tea with a bunch of spices in it.
You left the tea bag in for way
You know
too
how
long.
like around Christmas you get the apple cider and put all the spice in it? It's like somebody did that with tea.
Yeah.
But not as good.
It's like wassail and tea together. Have you ever had wassail?
What is wassail?
Yeah, I've never had wassail.
I've never even heard that word before.
Here we go, wassailing.
Is that like bad whistling?
No, it's a drink you make. It's a warm drink you make it like a crock pot with some cinnamon and stuff in it. It's really good, actually.
Wassail?
Yeah, wassail.
I've never heard that.
It's a holiday drink.
Never had.
Huh. Get your life together.
Get it together.
He was like he's drinking it right now.
So I love my gut and I love my liver. What other ones are there, Sam? Are those the only two?
Well, they have 4 total. But those are the only 2 that we got.
All right. Well, Tim gives a thumbs up on them.
Yeah, I like the cinnamon.
Wasn't my cup of tea. But
Here you go. The jokes don't get any better.
We're keeping the day job just in case. So Tionic, check it out in the organic section at Hy-Vee. Tim likes it. It's basically spicy tea, cold tea.
If you try it, let us know what you think. Get on the cinnamon train.
Get on the cinnamon train. I don't know. It was even the turmeric drinks were better than that.
It's not what you. It doesn't taste like a tea either. So keep an open mind when you go to drink. I think if you go into it thinking
this with an open mind.
Like,
anytime somebody says that to you, like this is gonna be a train wreck.
That's pretty much my life.
That's kind of
I
like.
think I was born. My mom was
That's
like,
kind of like
with an open mind.
It's like a blind date. They have a really nice personality.
Right. They have like 3 eyes and 4 legs. I've done weirder things.
That's funny, fellas. I'll tell you what. We've been on the show now for what? 2 months now.
I think 2 months. Yeah,
so we're looking for some feedback. Let us know how we're doing, everybody. Hit us up on our Facebook, email us, even give us a call.
Come to the gym some night and introduce yourself.
Come to the gym night, check us out. We're down at Mid-American Martial Arts every night. I'm there every night. These guys are there most of the time.
Absolutely.
And or hit up the Salem Median Group. Yeah. Call the answer up, 94.5 FM, 1420 AM. Call Chip, call Ian. Let us know what you think about us, what we can do better, and what we can bring to the table that you'd like to see. Well, not see, hear, I guess, in this case.
You can see us if you want.
You
if
could
you want
see
a picture,
us.
We'll send you one.
We're happy to take this. Tim does have a portfolio.
I do.
Yes.
Some shirtless, some not shirtless. I mean, pick your poison.
Hey guys, we're going to take a quick break. We're coming back with Dale Sundermann to continue our conversation we had from a couple weeks ago. You're listening to Treadmills and Tangents, your health and wellness show right here on The Answer, 94.5 FM, 1420 AM. We'll be right back. When you walk into Mid-American Martial Arts, you're walking into more than punching and kicking. You're walking into a community, and that is what I think sets us apart from everybody else. We train anywhere from 4 years old, and we have students as old as in their 60s here. Our main programs are Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai kickboxing, Judo, as well as our strength and conditioning program, which is our Training for Warriors program. Our main goal is that when people leave here, they feel better about themselves. You know, they're a little bit better as a person, they feel a little bit about their life, they feel better about their day. Now, everybody holds baggage, everybody has stress. This is the place where they can come in and put all that away for a little bit and work on themselves. Yeah, do we hope they can defend themselves better? Sure. Do we hope they can punch and kick a little better? Absolutely. None of that matters if they don't feel good about themselves. And that's the main key. If they can walk out of here feeling good about themselves, feeling good about their life, then we've won that day. Welcome back, everybody. I'm happy to have back again Dale Sundermann, performance coach, mental health expert, to continue our conversation we had from a couple weeks ago. Now, Dale, is there a correlation how well people perform at work and the health and well-being of their daily lives? In other words, after work as well. Like, if they're performing well at work, are they happier at home, or is there no correlation at all?
There is a correlation, and it depends on individuals, personality and temperament types. Influence that. Some people say work is work and home is home.
They can compartmentalize.
Yeah, they compartmentalize. Other people can't compartmentalize. You know, they bring their personal life and their personal drama into work, and they can't function in either place. To some degree, compartmentalization is good, right? To say, hey, this is the task. I need to be here right now, right, and take care of this right now. This, and then my personal self and personal well-being. Because to get things done, to get the job done the way it needs to be done, how it needs to be done, sometimes we need to separate ourselves. But if that starts to become the way that we are, we can actually sabotage our most important relationships. On the other hand, if we're all in all the time, that too can keep us from really being what we're promising the organization I'm going to be while at work.
How do you, if you're going to coach somebody, in other words, to perform better, you know, they're coming to you with a struggle. Whereas I'm not as successful at work as I want to be, or I'm not managing the organization as I want to be. Where do you start first?
Wow, where do I start first? Well, first of all, I want to find out what their goals and objectives are, right? And where their biggest issues are, because there's so many different dynamics. There is no just one thing. There's so many different dynamics in the way that we think, different mindsets about stuff. But I think the single greatest thing is to understand how we feel. Our emotions don't know the difference between what's real and what's vividly imagined, right? So how we take in information, how we interpret the events influence how we feel and what we do, but they are not the direct driver of how we feel and what we do. If they were, every event in the world would have everybody feel and do the exact same thing, but it is not. Human beings are unique in that we have this moment, this thing that happens so fast we don't even know it exists. Probably likened to how we have certain applications on your computer that makes your computer run and do things and you don't even know it's happening. Well, we have that kind of app operating in our brain that is quickly interpreting everything we see and experience. And because it happens so fast, we think we see the world as it is. We think we see the risks and the challenges that are in front of us the way they are, but we don't.
So this is why a lot of times people will, I feel bad because of X, but it's not really X that's causing them to feel bad, or causing them to feel that way.
Yeah, it's the interpretation of the situation. So that's where the fix and the growth mindset comes in. So that mindset is one thing to call it. In the clinical arena, we call it the beliefs, or your B's, in a cognitive behavioral model. You got activating events, beliefs, and then the consequences, which is how you feel and what you do. You change the beliefs, you change how you feel and what you do. And in clinical work, in the Air Force population, man, we weed out crazy, right? So it's awesome as a clinician in working with this population because everybody's high functioning. And so using this cognitive behavioral model in just 2 to 3 sessions, boom, hands off, you've taught somebody how to change how they feel in an instant. You've given them the tools. Whether they use them or not is really up to them. But you can teach the tools to change how you feel in an instant.
Do you find a lot of times when people come to you, like, I'm not performing well and it's because of this, you find that, well, okay, now that we've talked a little bit and we've done some tests, here's really your problem, and it's not what you thought.
Yeah. It depends on the openness, right? Are they coming into me because they're directed to come into me? In other words, they're forced to. That can be very difficult and sometimes impossible, right? The person has to be open to it.
You have to want to get help.
Yeah, and you want to change because there's some comfort, right? What if I all of a sudden realize that I'm the one that's really responsible for me being unhappy? Oh, crap. Now, I got to do something. I mean, that doesn't feel, most people are phobic of that. It's easier to point the finger elsewhere and say they need to change. And if they change, then I'll feel better. Or if they change, the world will be better. Once you realize that it's really on you, that's something that's really tough for people to.
Well, this gets back to the issue of struggle, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be some pain. It's gonna be some effort on my part, and the struggle is gonna happen. But then again, that's how growth happens.
Yeah. So if that's your belief, anytime you get uncomfortable, your immediate belief is, hey, struggle happens. That means this is important. So then how you feel is engaged and your action steps up. But if your belief is, hey, this shouldn't happen, right?
I'm better than this.
Yeah, I'm better than this. Then the feeling is you start beating yourself up or you start looking for excuses. And so the consequences in what you do is stimulated so fast by your belief. Now, kind of going back to what we were talking about originally, Carol Dweck's growth and fixed mindset. If we were taking IQ, for example, you have somebody who just believes IQ is a talent. You either have it or you don't. Well, if they have to struggle at something, then they're instinctively going to assume, I'm just not good at this. And so you have a lot of kids that were really successful in school, get into college. We hear this story all the time, get into college, and suddenly, wow, it's a reality check, and they don't handle it well. They flunk out. And it's because they think they're stupid, right? They think, oh, man, I guess I used to be good, and the grades used to prove I was smart, but that just means I was high school smart. I'm not college smart, and they can't handle it. And they can't handle the failure because what happens if they give their best effort and they still fail, right? If I give my best effort and I'm of a fixed mindset and I still fail, now I'm a real loser. If I don't give my best effort, then I could have been good, right? This is one of the things. Every child's built with a ton of potential. Now that potential has gone past our late teens, past what a previous generation used to experience at 17 and 18, and now we've pushed living in potential all the way into the 20s. Academics refer to the experience called adolescence, right? Adolescence, like yeah. It's what we see now because we've pushed off making mistakes, real tough learning experiences, discomfort until later in life. Previous generations used to experience it at 17 and 18. We now pushed it off into the mid-20s. And we are blaming it on them when really it's actually the way in which we taught.
It's how we parented.
It's how we parented. We wanted a better life. We want a better life for our kids. However, what's happened is we've equated a better life with an easier life. Now, when you come back to that mindset of the difference between fixed and growth, individuals that have a growth mindset about intelligence, well, they'll work harder. They'll try to find a better way to do it. Maybe I need to study longer. Maybe I need to study smarter. And so what happens is even though they don't have a higher IQ, which, by the way, research shows your IQ does not change. It is static. You either have it or you don't. That's what the research shows. But in real-world results, if you have a high IQ but don't push yourself, your knowledge and skills and abilities will become stagnant. And those individuals that actually have a lower IQ because they learn how to consume information, they develop techniques to speed read and consume more information in a shorter period of time. Their IQ doesn't go up, Aaron, but their performance does. And so they start getting better grades, having better performance. And this is the kind of thing that we see. And this is why struggle is actually a huge asset. When we take a look at the outliers, we come to realize they're successful because of the challenges, not in spite of them. Right? They had to learn how to get through the system in a way that the system doesn't work for them.
And I'm going to hit a touchy subject here, participation medals. Mm-hmm. Would you say that act of everybody getting a medal promotes a fixed mindset?
Yeah, I'm kind of neutral. I'm not for or against it. I think it's really individualized.
Okay.
Right? So the fact that everybody gets a participation medal, that's not good. That is not neither good nor bad. It's how is the child receiving that information, right? I mean, because if a child that says, you know what, I got this participation medal, but what I really wanted was first place. What do I need to do to develop my skills to be first place, right? It's not the medal itself that sets us in, like, hey, I'm good enough, I got a medal. No. It's that mindset in and of itself. It's like, so what was the score? What's my ability level? And where do I want to be? So that's really my opinion on the whole, everyone gets a trophy. Because a lot of people are like saying, hey, yeah, especially our generation. It's like, man, if you either win or you lose, that's a good measure because it helps you to say, hey, you were good enough this time. But that doesn't mean you can't be good enough, son. So what do you think would help out?
What can we do better?
What can we do better?
What can we do?
Yeah. And then when you take a look at people that are better, why are they better? Some of them are because of talent, but others are there because they worked harder. They spent more time in the gym.
There's lack of effort.
Yeah, lack of effort. Maybe their coach put them in position a little bit better. That's not a bad thing to know.
So it's the discussions around these said participation medal is what makes it important. Is what puts it in the proper perspective.
Yep. And all the examples you throw at them. I mean, not just the conversation you have then, but the 4 or 5 indirect ways that you put it right in front of them. The most important is the story time at night. Tell your kids stories that develop their character at a very early age. And not just stories that entertain, but that are focused on the kind of character you want your 5-year-old to have when they're 15. Don't wait until they're 15 to teach them those things. Teach them when they're 5. I had the sense of urgency because my father had passed away when I was 15 years of age, and didn't have didn't have life insurance. So every worldly possession, everything he'd set his family up for during his life, was now all gone. Right? He was 42. Passed away. My mom was only 36 at the time. Now suddenly she's a single mom and she's got 3 kids. He didn't leave any life insurance, so all the worldly possessions had to be sold off. And she found herself working in the deli at a grocery store, right? Moving chicken and slapping mashed potatoes on people's plates. She worked real hard. She eventually got her own deli, and at 50 went on to become a dental hygienist, after she got all 3 of us through college. The early lessons that we learned between my mom and my father, right, were so important. And I thought, what if something happens to me before my boys reach 15? And I thought, it's not about the school I send them to. It's not about the sports I engage them in. It's about the character in these young men that's going to allow them to handle the world if I'm gone at 15. And so I guess I was on a little bit of an accelerated time schedule when I thought about parenting. And so I was consuming everything I could. And I've come to realize there's a lot of crap out there when it comes to parenting. Self-esteem stuff and building them up and the praisings. How we praise is hugely important. But the single greatest was I knew my boys and I knew the people we grow through experience. But if I'm not going to be around when they're 17, how am I going to teach them how to have persistence and be strong against peer pressure? Had to do it early. So I did that and I used the stories. I was also fortunate enough to have had the experience of using therapeutic stories to help trauma victims. And one dramatic story in particular, I just saw an overnight change in this young girl. And the only thing we did with her treatment was use therapeutic stories. And it changed her response in school and other things from the trauma of a sexual assault from an uncle. So I thought, if that works this well with a trauma victim, could the same principles work in instilling principles of character in normal kids? So that's what we started doing. So every night, I practice these Big Daddy TW smiley stories. I wouldn't practice. That's what they get. So we're the actual characters, because when using a therapeutic story, you use the character. They're in the story. You can read a story, but when the person you're reading it to, the young child, is actually the character in it, now they own it. And as we talked before, the power of visualization, the mind is an incredible tool to simulate success. So they're using it each night. And
now they're falling asleep with that image in their head.
They're falling asleep, yep. And so their characters are learning to a lot of courage, effort, persistence, kindness, respect, honesty. The character traits, but really a lot of persistence in dealing with failure, choosing good friends, these kinds of things. And to make it more fun, I learned how to do all sorts of great voices. The boys really loved it. It was a favorite part of their night. And so I was Big Daddy, and Taylor was Taylor Wade, TW is his initials, and Riley was Smiley Riley. The boys would go on these great adventures and have all sorts of fun. and it was cool. And over time, Riley would go, Dad, Smiley doesn't want to make that choice, right? Because I would quite honestly, sometimes their characters would make their own choices. It wasn't always sunshine and rainbows because I knew the world wasn't going to be like that. It's not like that. And once Riley would start going, he was the first one to do it. He said, Dad, Smiley doesn't want to make that choice. I said, really? So what choice does Smiley want to make? He goes, Smiley would return the wallet. He'd give it back. He'd find out who it belongs to. All right, well, let's see what happens. And then I would change the story once they were giving input. And it was such a positive part of the boys' night that even as they got older, we got into high school, right? And the story started to change. It started to be Chicken Soup for the Soul. And there was an educator, was the 52 Rules. He was Educator of the Year. And I thought, oh, this is kind of cool. And so I started reading his stories, different chapters about the 52 rules for success. And the boys really loved and soaked up these stories. And now as they're older, you have 4 boys in college right now, Aaron.
Wow.
So the youngest one, he's at South Dakota State University.
Well, at least they're out of the house not killing a refrigerator. Right?
Yeah, they're not killing the refrigerator. They're actually a lot cheaper now than when they were in the house. And so he's up there, and he took a picture of a quote from Winston Churchill and sent it to me. He goes, Dad, he goes, do you remember this quote? And I don't remember it, but he remembered it from another story.
That you had told him. That's great.
Yeah.
So it resonated.
Yeah, so he's seeing it in the world around him.
Awesome. Dale, thank you again for another great conversation. Okay, thanks for tuning in, guys. We're here every Saturday at 9 a.m. right here on The Answer, 94.5 FM, 1420 a.m. You're listening to Treadmills and Tangents, your health and wellness show. Have a good weekend.
Tune in each Saturday morning with fun banter on what it takes to live a healthier, happier, and more vibrant life in the Big O. Treadmills and Tangents with Coach Aaron Saron and his army of wellness warriors.